So, welcome to another episode of Overcoming Addiction, where I try to share some of the tools that I use to overcome my substance abuse in the hope that it might help someone else. Lately, in the last few episodes, I have been kind of mentioning the fact that substance abuse is a demonic possession. And in this episode, I'm going to talk more about how that has come about. Now, I'm going to read from a chapter of my up and coming book. And the name of this chapter, or this episode, is Why Africans and African Americans Are Prime Targets, meaning why are they prime targets for Satan and his demons. Now, in the previous videos, I talked about the lack of attention given to people of color who suffer and are dying from opioid addiction, particularly in African American communities. Addiction of all types are used as tools by spirits, evil, negative, etc., as a means of oppression. Oppression is used to suppress others who may not have access to opportunities of wealth and education. To this point, I think it's very unfortunate that blacks living on a continent that contains over 25% of our global wealth live in poor, underdeveloped nations and in the most deplorable conditions on the planet. Greed and corruption by foreign nations are the main reasons why there are Africans who are needlessly dying. Greed is a demonic possession, and it can have far reaching influences and consequences, meaning it will influence a brother or neighbor to harm one another. Corrupt political leadership has led to starvation, civil war, and genocide among people who are extremely oppressed compared to those in other nations. And looking from the outside, it's easy to see how black men in Africa have become easy targets for demons to possess, thus keeping them oppressed. It can be said that oppression and depression also is a sign of demonic possession, designed to do damage to our race. Satan would love to see that same type of damage happen on a global scale. Now, why are black people prime targets for demonic possession, or prime targets for Satan and his demonic possessions? Well, this answer, believe it or not, can be found in the recounting of the crucifixion of Christ in the Gospels of Matthew, Mark, and Luke. In each of their Gospels, they describe an event related to the crucifixion. The symbolism of that event, which was also witnessed by Satan, would have an impact on black men over time. In the recounting of the crucifixion, there is the mention of a seemingly insignificant individual who went by the name of Simon. So, who was this Simon and what was his significance? Well, according to Wikipedia, Simon was from a Greek city in the province of Cyrenia, located in eastern Libya at that time, which is in northern Africa. In the Gospels, he would be known as Simon of Cyrene. In Luke's Gospel, chapter 23, verse 26, the NIV version, there's a scripture that introduces us to Simon, and it reads, as the soldiers led him away, talking about Jesus, they seized Simon from Cyrene, who was on his way from the country, and put the cross on him and made him carry it behind Jesus. Now, this very short mention of that designation by the Roman soldiers has had a profound effect on every black man from that moment on, in the eyes of Satan. Simon was a black man. His actions of bearing Jesus' cross alerted Satan to the significant role of the black man in the end times. Now, as all Christians know, Satan made every effort to prevent the birth of Jesus. And because he was unsuccessful, his focus has shifted to keeping mankind from recognizing and reacquiring the supernatural authority we were originally given, putting us in control of the natural world that Satan currently rules. At one time, mankind was in control of the natural and the supernatural world. Simon, by helping Jesus bear the cross, symbolizes the black man's willingness to help Christians who are struggling to see the power and authority that he saw when he looked into the eyes of Jesus. Now, that moment may or may not have changed Simon, but from that moment on, Satan has made black men his high value targets. It should be noted that according to the Christian website Aleteia, that's Aleteia, Simon was a pagan and had been forced to carry the cross. It is not clear whether this had a profound effect on his life at that moment, but some biblical historians believed Simon's heart was touched by grace afterwards. His two oldest sons were immediately affected and later became Christians. Apparently, sometimes black men need to have a little push before they can go in the right direction. All Christians are to take up the cross for Christ's sake, which will happen in the end times. It was a black man from Africa who was the first to do so. And it should be black men leading the preparation of mankind for the return of Christ. And Satan is afraid of this. It's why he spends a great amount of effort targeting black men. It was also no accident that the description of Simon was given in the manner it was, so that all would know who he was and where he was from. The argument can still be made that Jesus himself was a man of color, but that is a debate that may continue until the end of days. The only thing that should matter is that he was a man sent by our Creator to show us the way to salvation. I also want it to be noted that this is just my opinion of why an entire continent and race of people have been targeted for oppression and suppression. Satan fears black people, and he is aware of the primary role we will play in the end times. If he can keep us oppressed, divided, angry, addicted, fighting amongst one another, and unaware of the real authority we have in this world, he believes he is winning. Those who attempt to whitewash the heroes of the Bible and distort the truth of the Bible, in my opinion, are under the influence of Satan. Now, it has been argued that black people are the true chosen people mentioned in the book of Genesis. And if so, Satan will launch every demonic attack he has against us. He doesn't exactly know when it will happen or who will rise up and lead the way in preparing mankind for the return of Christ. So he attacks us all. This is why we have to arm ourselves in preparation for spiritual attacks by demonic forces. Can we meet the challenge? Everyone, I want to thank those who watched, and I would like for you to share these videos. I do these to pretty much generally start a conversation. If you have any comments, you can leave them in the comment section below the video, or you can contact me by email. My email address is here. You can also reach me on Facebook under my name, Sandy Mays, and on Instagram. And I would like to encourage those who might need it to purchase the book, The Effective Use of Spiritual Tools, which is written by me. It describes, as I say, some of the tools that I use to overcome my addiction, my opioid addiction. Again, I hope these videos are enlightening or at least get a conversation started. You can purchase the book on the Amazon website, the Barnes and Noble's website, Walmart website, or from the publisher who is right here. Thanks again for watching these videos. I hope you share and subscribe. So until the next time, thank you for watching Overcoming Addiction.